Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. One of my greatest joys in life is finding really weird, really bad movies and watching them with my wife. Suffice it to say, I have found one of those movies. There's just something about making Christmas movies that makes production teams decide to just like stop giving a fuck, and that results in some pretty hilarious like half-assed movies. And that's mostly what we're going to be watching on this channel. The movie we're watching today is called Defending Santa. It originally aired in 2013 on Ion Television, which is like a low-budget network that I think my mom used to watch like cop shows on. And if you watch this video and think that the movie is funny, I grabbed the DVD on Amazon for like 10 bucks, and it's definitely worth a buy because it is one of the weirdest movies I've ever seen. One weird thing about this movie cover that I'm just like now realizing, the two people on the front of this movie are not like the main love interest. That's the main character, and that is a side character that shows up for like 5 minutes in this movie. I don't really know why she's on the front of the movie or why they're looking at each other like a couple. That's his sister. So that's already pretty weird. So the movie opens with Scott, the small town sheriff, responding to a call on Christmas Eve. He finds Santa lying face down and stiff as hell in the middle of the woods. I know this guy is probably in trouble, probably like going into hypothermia or whatever, but he's just like so stiff. He's just like... So we then cut to a law office where this lady, Sarah, who is the main love interest, is quitting her job at her big law firm. But the problem with this scene is I can't really focus on any of the dialogue because like the beams they set up in the background are just like moving for some reason.
They didn't know contact info.
Look, this dude is talking, he's like, yeah, I really hope you can stay at your job. But like the fucking support beams are like fucking shifting back and forth. Yeah, I guess the whole building's about to come down. It's probably a good thing she's getting out of there. Sarah, wait, I'll give you a big raise if you stay at the firm. Wow, that's really generous. How can we afford that? Oh, it's no big deal. I sold one of the load-bearing walls on the first floor. You sold one of the... Yeah, we should probably get out of here. Turns out it's been almost a year since Scott found the Santa guy in the woods, and he's been in a coma. It's almost the Christmas season, and the town's district attorney is having a Christmas party.
Sheriff. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
So, what do you think of my little party?
So the district attorney is this crusty looking dude named Nielsen, who kind of looks like if you like took Tim Allen out of your fridge and left him on the counter for a little bit too long. Anyway, crusty Tim Allen introduces Scott to the new public defender, Sarah, the lady from the law firm. She made it out alive before the building collapsed, I guess. It turns out Scott and Sarah knew each other from an old case a long time ago.
You two know one another?
An old case. The sheriff's testimony almost got my client 10 years.
It should have.
Well, it's a good thing the system allows for a jury to decide that, and not you.
We also meet this guy, the deputy, who like won't stop complaining that the punch is spiked.
Man, I don't think this punch is spiked. Are you aware this punch has been spiked? Spiked.
It's spiked with alcohol, right? But this dude is like reacting so violently. I feel like it can't just be alcohol. Hey, a nice party you got here. Wow, that is PCP. Okay, I should probably go pour that out. So we find out that Scott has a dead wife and that she died of cancer on Christmas Eve. But before she died, she made him promise to find a new mom for their daughter.
I want you to find Susan a good... I can't have her grow up without a mother. And she has to be a good wife to you. You promised me.
I promise.
And then she says this weird shit.
Oh, how the guilty get us.
I know, that seems like a really random thing to say that I've never heard anyone say before, but that will be strangely important later, so keep that in your mind. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Santa has woken up from his coma and he is now giving presents to the kids at the hospital. Like this girl who asks Santa for...
A pony and a squeezy crinkle doll.
A pony, eh? Gracie?
Yes?
It's a little pony hologram. Okay.
Don't tell anyone.
Ugh. Why'd they make the Santa so fucking creepy, dude? Damn. That might have been the creepiest thing you possibly could have said. Alright, so now we meet Scott's brother-in-law, Mark. He's not that important of a character, but this dude has his baby strapped to his chest in literally like every single scene that he's in. And while they're standing around talking, this happens.
Disgusting.
No idea why. That scene is super random. Anyway, Scott is then confronted by the prosecutor who just like shows up out of nowhere and says that he's gonna go to the judge and have Santa locked up. It turns out the entire reason he's doing this is because he wants a chance to go up against Sarah in court. I don't think I mentioned this before, but crusty Tim Allen is apparently undefeated as a prosecutor, so he's looking to like preserve his record, I guess.
Wait a minute, why are you here instead of some member of your staff?
I'm looking for room 34.
Counselor.
Nielsen?
Game on.
But like, a couple questions about that. One, Santa hasn't committed a crime. He has no need for a lawyer. Like, what is she defending him from? Like, the prosecutor guy showed up to go head to head with Sarah, but like, why does she know that he needs a lawyer? Why is she even there? I don't fucking know, dude. Second, this guy's a prosecutor, right? Doesn't Santa have to like get arrested, you know, go into the system before this guy gets involved? Like, why is the prosecutor like the dictator of this town? He just gets to be like, oh, you're acting a little zany, huh? You're making little CGI ponies just appear in your hand? Get in the jail cell. Get in there. So Tim Allen and Sarah question Santa, and he says all sorts of wacky shit.
However, there's nothing that gives me more cheer than the sound of children's laughter.
Hey man, if you keep saying shit like that, you might actually need a public defender. Jesus, dude. But both Sarah and Tim Allen are like, well, there's no way you're actually Santa, right? And he's all like,
You know, it's intriguing that a child can walk through that door and see me for who I am. But as adults, you want to convince yourselves that there is no possibility that the man I am could exist.
so like, here's my thing with these like Santa is real movies, right? The existence of Santa seems like a really easy thing to verify, right? Like, you come down on Christmas morning, there are presents under the tree that you can't account for because you didn't buy them. Okay, case closed, right? Santa exists. Like, as an adult in this world, I feel like I can't blame them for being skeptical that Santa is real. But in the world of this movie, it's obvious that this is the real Santa, right? So there's probably a ton of proof. I don't know, dude. I've definitely thought a lot more about this than the people who wrote this movie. Let's just move on. So next, like, we cut to a meeting in the judge's chambers, and just out of nowhere, this judge is just like wearing a baseball glove for some reason. They never explain why. And he's just like,
of Mr. Kringle at this moment.
they're all meeting to discuss like what they're gonna do about Santa, and the prosecutor is like,
Your Honor, I'd like to make you aware that if we allow this man to roam the streets of our town, not only is he a threat to our peace, but he will fill the minds with our children.
he will fill the minds with our children? You couldn't record that line like one more time?
But he will fill the minds with our children that it's okay to live in a world where fantasy coincides with reality.
Robert,
Yes, Your Honor.
sit down.
Now he has a football. This guy just brought like a whole like bag of sports equipment to like this important court meeting. He also throws the ball at Scott, but Scott like never throws it back or like throws it to a different person. We never see anyone else throw or catch that football. This judge just like hucks balls at people when things get intense, I guess. Barbara, could you file those papers by Wednesday and heads up, by the way. Yeah, we also need to get that on the calendar for
A delusional man is already a threat by way of being delusional.
Institutionalizing a man based on the idea that he might become a threat to himself or others is unethical and illegal.
Yeah, dude, I'm kind of with her on this one. This shit makes no sense. But then the mayor cuts in, and for some reason, he just sounds like drunk as hell.
May I make a suggestion? Considering re-elections are coming up, I think maybe this is a decision better suited for a jury. Have ourselves an old-fashioned courtroom trial to decide whether this Kris Kringle is Santa Claus or not.
So the judge thinks this is a great idea, and after pulling a golf club out of his random bag of sports equipment for some reason, he says that jury selection will start on Monday. Can you do that? Can you just like force a guy to be on trial because you want to?
Without knowing who this man is, I can't let him just wander the streets of our little town.
I think you can. I think you can let him wander the streets of your little town. I don't think he's committed a crime. So Santa goes to jail.
I'm going to jail!
So it turns out Santa wasn't in a coma, he was hibernating. In this film's universe, Santa comes to Earth through a portal every year from another dimension, delivers the gifts, and then returns home and hibernates until around Thanksgiving.
See, like I said, the North Pole is not only a place, it's also a moment in time.
What, like another dimension?
Yes, you could say that.
And I gotta say, that's kind of fucking sick, dude. I gotta give credit where credit is due, alright? Santa as an other dimensional being, that's sick. Whatever writer came up with that, they should be proud. Unfortunately, this movie is still very bad. Anyway, Scott and Sarah start to spend more time together, and in this scene we find out, through the clumsiest exposition I've ever heard, that they used to date.
So now that we got all our secrets out, what's next? Dinner at Main Street Cafe, dancing down by the river, our first kiss? No, wait. We did that already.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Was it? Yeah, you're old. But me? I didn't age.
Wow, I've never been more uncomfortable in my life. So then we come back to the jail and we see that they've arrested 2 children?
Sam,
Yeah?
these 2, what are they in for?
Fighting.
The kids were fighting each other apparently, so, you know, you put them in jail.
You're not Santa. Yeah, Santa's not real.
Who told you Santa's not real?
My dad saw you on the news last night. Said you was an old grandpa.
Oh?
Yeah, an old grandpa man with smelly farts.
These writers don't know how kids talk, so they just made the one kid sound like he's from like a 1950s cartoon. Yeah, he said he was an old grandpa, see? Why does he sound like that?
Boys, I'd like both of you to check your left pockets.
Hey, now hold up. I searched them both. They didn't have nothing in their pockets.
You searched them both? You searched the kids. Did you think they would have a gun? So Santa takes the coal and disintegrates it, and then the kids go insane?
I want it, Lonnie! Please! I'm sorry, Lonnie! Let me out, please! I'm sorry! I want...
Purple eye?
Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so sorry I'm taking over. They haven't finished painting my office yet, and my apartment is cramped, so... I mean, you don't mind if I work here for a while, do you?
Nope, not at all. Judge didn't give you much time, did he?
Nope.
Anyways, things are really spiraling out of control when Sarah finally says,
Oh, how the guilty contest.
oh, that's the thing his wife used to say, that I've definitely heard one person say before, for sure. Anyways, once she says that, Scott knows she's the one.
Would you like to come over for Thanksgiving tomorrow?
What time you picking us up?
Maybe we should just cut to the next scene. Ah, the Thanksgiving scene. This is when the movie starts to get absolutely wild.
You must be Sarah.
Guilty!
A lawyer joke, how cute. I need a drink.
It's the Turkey Bowl rematch of the century!
I don't think so.
What? You're not serious.
Scott, where's your butter?
Hey, I'm Mark.
Sarah,
this is
nice
Mackenzie.
to meet you. Hi,
And this is my ray of sunshine, Beth.
Hi. Scott, butter?
Oh, in the side door, fridge.
Great, thanks.
All right, y'all can officially start the party. I have arrived.
Sam! Rematch of the century, buddy. Boom!
You know it.
Play football?
A little bit.
Don't let this guy fool you. 2-time 5A state champions and like 2 years at Penn State.
The editing in this scene is pure chaos, dude. They must have dosed their editor with like cocaine or something. That was so many cuts, holy shit.
And now he faces his worst nightmare!
That baby was being shaken so violently. This kid is gonna spend her entire life with a concussion. Dude, this football scene is like easily the best scene in the whole movie. This scene is the reason I saw this scene the first time and I was like, I have to make a video about this.
Kick the ball!
I kind of wish every sporting event started like that.
Oh, you going down, girl.
Set! Hut! One Mississippi.
Oh, what happened? Did you fall down?
Hey man, why are you celebrating? She intercepted the ball. I think that's bad for you, dude.
Hey! Now, hold on a second. It's just a game now. Whoa.
Yes, that's my girl!
Yes!
I love that high five, dude. He hits him with the... So then this dude falls and twists his ankle, and he can't play anymore. Frankly, I'm surprised his baby isn't still strapped to his chest and just flattened from the impact.
Oh, you're okay. It's just a sprain.
Oh, it hurts so much.
But I think that's game, you guys.
Oh,
Oh, come on, we can't end now.
Looks like you've been drafted.
Oh my god.
Looks like you've been drafted.
Sam, you rush. I got her. What? I got her.
Oh, you got me. You got me? Hike!
I hated that. But dude, look what happens when Santa gets the ball.
1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Santa has fucking superpowers? Holy shit, dude. I don't know why I'm so surprised by this after like the little pony and the coal scene, but I really was not expecting him to do a front flip. Also, for some reason, the deputy just like forgets what he was doing and just like reverts to his neutral pose. He looks like an NPC.
Never should have come here. Come on!
Santa, you are awesome. That guy's great.
That guy is great. That guy is great. Look at that guy. That guy is great.
Ho, ho, ho.
Hike! 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Hey! Oh, come on, man. Oh, this ain't funny.
He pulls his pants down with magic. Anyway, this shit goes on for 4 literal minutes until finally...
I think the turkey's about ready. Let's wrap it up.
Oh, come on. It's a tied game.
It's a tied game? How the fuck is it a tied game, dude? Santa just pulled a guy's pants down and performed feats of acrobatics with magic. How on earth did you let this become a tied game?
We gotta finish this.
Kringle, you feeling lucky?
Give me the ball.
Ugh, I hated that shot. I hate the angle. I hate the way that Santa like moans / giggles. And I hated the way that she says, "Give me the ball."
Give me the ball.
Can this movie please be over? So anyways, they score a touchdown and win, finally. So later, Scott and Sarah are in the kitchen together, and here's where the writers of the movie make some pretty baffling choices with Sarah's character. For whatever reason, the writers decided to have Sarah not be ready to settle down. Like, they made her like a rowdy bachelor, I guess, but her bachelor activity that she's not ready to give up, and that's too wild to exist within the confines of a relationship, is reading a book.
So is there somebody back in the big city?
Yeah, well, there's lots of somebodies, but I'm not ready for anybody yet. I like cold nights with a warm blanket and a good book. Yep. Not sure I'm ready to give that up.
I think you can do that and still be in a relationship. Was that just the wildest thing that they could think of for a person to do? Hey, honey, oh my god. Hey, I thought you were working late tonight. What were you doing? Nothing. I was taking a nap. You were reading again, weren't you? No, I wasn't, babe. I told you. I'm done with that stuff. I can't do this again. I'm going to my parents' house. When I get back, I want you out of here. It's clear you're just not ready to settle down. Babe, no, I promise you. You're the one I want to be with. The one I want to settle down with. To raise a baby and shake the absolute hell out of her with. If being with you means giving up reading, then I guess I've read my last book. Aw, really? Yeah. Now come on, let's go have... what the fuck? Sorry, things are getting a little intense, so I threw a ball at you. That's just what people do. No, they don't. What the fuck was that?
Kick the ball!
Anyways, then they have a campfire, and Santa creams his pants after drinking 1 sip of apple cider.
Ah, Sarah, there's nothing like a nice cup of hot apple cider.
Oh, honey.
Wait.
All right, wait a minute. Let's go get cleaned up.
Could Sarah help me?
I would be happy to. Yes, let's get you cleaned up.
Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg. Batmobile lost its wheels and Joker got away. Hey!
I don't think it's physically possible to manufacture more cringe condensed than the combined 1-2 punch of terrible a cappella singing and terrible Christmas song singing. I wish I never saw this. So then there's all this news coverage of the Santa trial story, and by all this news coverage I mean the paper prints 3 stories that all contain the exact same body text. And it's pretty smart if you think about it. I bet you they save a lot of money by just printing the same story for 3 days in a row. That's kind of genius, actually. Also, some TV stations have started to pick up the story, like this one.
Father Christmas. Fact or fiction?
So now it's time for the trial. Weirdly enough, for a movie that's like completely structured around the concept of a trial, the trial itself is actually not that important to the plot at all. The prosecutor guy basically just like calls all his witnesses and asks the exact same question to all of them. Like literally they all get up on the stand and he's like, do you really think that guy's Santa? That guy? You think that guy's Santa? All right, call the next witness. You think that guy's Santa? Really? That's literally how all of his like examinations go. Also, the jury laughs at like literally everything, like even stuff that's not supposed to be funny. So back in the jail after the first day of trial, Santa encounters this guy, William. William is sort of a background character throughout the whole movie, but I mostly ignored his scenes because they're kind of entirely unimportant to the plot. William is kind of like a caricature of an alcoholic. Like, he's always drunk, and apparently he wears an airplane seatbelt as a belt, and his teeth kind of look like someone just like dyed them with food coloring. I feel like the writers didn't really know like what alcoholics do, so they just guessed. Anyway, now he gets thrown in jail after getting in a bar fight with 6 people.
I tried to stop. I really did. I'm sorry. I don't want to be on the bad list.
Oh, William, there's no room on the naughty list for someone with a heart as big as yours. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to give you an early Christmas present that you'll never forget.
Hey dude, given your past activities, don't know if I like where this is going.
So the last job I had was Medical Works about 2 years ago.
Do you think she'll take you back?
Oh, no. I burned that bridge.
I think a little time and an apology, I'm willing to bet she'd be happy to see you.
William.
Yes, Sheriff.
That cut on your head?
Look, I'm very sorry for troubling you guys this evening.
So yeah, he just like healed that guy's wounds, and now like when the dude talks, he's not slurring his words anymore. So did he make that guy like not drunk anymore too? Did he cure his alcoholism? It's really not clear what just happened. The trial continues and it's pretty much the same as the first day. Eventually, Scott gets up on the stand, and when the prosecutor asks him if he thinks Santa is Santa, he says,
Look, if you're asking me if I think that Santa Claus is a real person, then no.
Scott.
You may proceed with the questions, Mr. Nielsen.
Thank you. What is your name, sir?
Kris Kringle.
And where do you live?
I believe this court will answer that question for me.
Are you Santa Claus?
Only by profession. My real name is Kris Kringle.
again, not really sure that was a joke, but go off.
So, you fly in a sleigh, pulled by reindeer, every Christmas Eve, and you deliver presents to good little girls and boys all over the world, right?
Not long ago, there was a little boy right here in Mammoth who always wanted a leather bomber jacket. You know, the kind that the bomber pilots wore in World War II. Well, I gave him that jacket for Christmas. The very next Christmas, he gave that very same jacket to his next-door neighbor and best friend, James. So in answer to your question, sir, just as you did for your best friend James.
Well, now it's a done deal, right? How the fuck would he know that unless he was Santa? But no, moldy Tim Allen still doesn't believe him. But now Sarah is mad at Scott because he said he didn't believe in Santa.
You're angry.
And I have every right to be.
So he swore an oath that his testimony was true, right? That's what happens when you get up on the stand in court. Wouldn't he be committing a crime if he lied on the stand? Dude, the dialogue in this scene is absolutely bewildering. None of the lines feed naturally into the next one or follow logically from the one before. It's like the writers took a nap between writing each line, and when they woke up, they had just forgotten what was said last.
I couldn't lie.
Why not? Who would you be hurting?
If I lied, I don't belong in this uniform.
Wow, and to think I was falling for you.
What?
I'm not looking for a relationship, Scott.
Okay, then don't.
Good. I won't.
Okay.
Good. God, you drive me crazy.
They finished painting my office 3 weeks ago.
I know.
Look, I am not the type to fall for a guy, okay? I am loud, I am brutally honest, and I like my alone time. I like to read by myself.
Whole days in front of a fire, I know.
You could have lied for me.
How could the people in this town trust me if I lied? How could you trust me?
Well, that's an easy answer, big guy. That's too simple. There's so much history between us, and now we're talking about trust? What next, huh? We kiss? Dating is complicated with Susan. It is feasible, but it is complicated. And imagine the small town chatter. Public defender and sheriff? Dating?
You always do this?
What?
Get all wound up when you get nervous?
I'm mad at you.
I know. I'm sorry.
Huh? Time for the final day of trial. Remember the girl from the hospital? Well, now her dad takes the stand.
I called the sheriff this morning after my little girl Gracie. Gracie's moved on. And after they took her away from us, we were gathering her things. And in the closet, we found this shoebox. And there was a note attached to it that I'd like to read. Dear Santa, I'm so sorry that I can't take care of the pony anymore. Please give Thunder to a little girl who will take good care of him. I will always believe in you.
I don't know what to say. The juxtaposition of the dad reading the letter to this little CGI horse that looks like it's in a different resolution than the rest of the movie. It's beyond my comprehension. That's the emotional climax of this film. A little shitty CGI horse. So then the town pulls a Radio Rebel and they all get up and proclaim their belief in Santa.
I believe Kris Kringle is Santa Claus.
I believe in Santa.
So do I.
Me too.
So do I. I believe in Santa Claus.
Hey, Santa gave that guy new teeth for Christmas. Wait, dude, I just thought about this. Santa cured this guy's alcoholism, but he let the girl with cancer die? He let her die so that her letter could free him in court? Dude, Santa is one cold son of a bitch. Which I guess that makes sense given, where he's from.
So do we.
I do. I believe in Santa.
I believe in Santa. So do I.
Scott is so quiet. Hey, so do I. I believe in Santa. Also, they added in the horse neighing in the background of this scene, and that's the only thing I can focus on.
Me too.
So do I.
The horse is just neighing the whole time. His throat is probably sore as hell. I bet you he's a little horse. Shout out to my wife for that one. I stole that joke from her. So now they have to wait for the jury to reach a verdict, but Santa's running out of time.
How you holding up?
Oh, not well, and we're running out of time.
Don't worry. Miss Myers says if we pray, God will hear and answer our prayers.
That sounds perfect.
Hold hands and close our eyes. Dear God, please help Santa.
Jury's ready.
I told you.
Oh, good girl.
Don't do that.
Disgusting.
So obviously the jury finds that he is Santa Claus, which is a shame because I was really looking forward to the sequel where Santa gets shanked in prison. So now they have to get Santa back through the portal, but the portal's up in the air. So they drive to the hangar where Scott keeps his plane. He is a pilot. I didn't talk about this like at all in this video, but he is a pilot. Like, it's been established in the movie that he has a plane. He doesn't just fucking get a plane out of nowhere. So they drive to the hangar where he keeps his plane.
Oh, no.
You okay?
It's time.
It's time for what?
It's time. It's opening.
Whoa.
It's opening.
So the portal busts open and knocks them all on their asses.
Oh, I think I peed a little.
That was awesome.
Holy shit, dude, is she okay? She looks like she's overdosing on shrooms.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, she looks high as fuck.
I don't think we're gonna make it. It's too rough. This plane's gonna get torn apart.
Please, Scott, you must believe.
Believe? Believe what? Believe that I was crazy to believe in this idea to begin with?
Hey dude, at the beginning of the movie, I was like kind of with you on not believing he's Santa, but you saw him pull a guy's pants down with magic, heal a dude's wounds and alcoholism, summon a tiny CGI horse, and open a fucking interdimensional portal, and you're still like, gee, I don't know, could he really be Santa? I don't know. But then Santa drops a bombshell on him.
Scott, I was there the night you promised Ashley.
What did you say?
Christmas Eve. I was there when you promised Ashley you'd find Susan a new mom.
Hey, so let me just get this straight. Again, cured that guy's alcoholism and his horrific head wounds, right? Couldn't, I don't know, save Scott's wife, make it so that she didn't die. Just saying. So they make it to the portal, and Santa jumps to his death while laughing hysterically. Last scene, I promise.
So I've heard.
So you heard.
It's pretty good.
Is it?
They're just laughing awkwardly. Is this what the writers think people do when they're in love?
What is it?
It's for you guys.
Oh, thank you, sweetheart.
I didn't get it. Santa did.
Well, thank you to Santa then.
Come on, Dad, open it.
Wait, how did...
It's okay, Dad. Will you be my mommy?
Sarah? Will you marry me?
Yes.
She didn't look very sure. Maybe she's having a shroom flashback.
Oh my gosh.
And that's how the movie ends.
Ho ho ho.
So yeah, this movie was really bad. There's just something so inherently funny about making like this mystical character like Santa Claus go through something as like earthly and mechanical as the American legal system. I feel like that would be kind of like making a movie about like the fucking tooth fairy going to the DMV or something. There you go, Ion Television. There's a free idea for you. Make it happen. I think had I gone about filming this video in a different way, this movie could have become a classic that my wife and I watch like once a year, just to kind of marvel in its awfulness. But because I haven't really ever made one of these kinds of videos before, I really wanted to hammer out like a detailed script before I started filming. So I watched this movie 9 times. And at this point, I never want to think about this movie ever again. Maybe going forward, I'll try to film these videos on like the second or third watch, so it's still funny to me while I'm filming it. I don't know. All part of the learning process, I guess. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my very first movie review. Despite the fact that I have lost all of my sanity as a result of watching this movie 9 times. I really had a lot of fun making this. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be making more content like this in the future, and if you thought there was something I could have done better, or if you have a movie that you want to see me cover next time, drop it in the comments, and if I use your suggestion, I'll be sure to shout you out on the next one. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to take a phone call. Hello? Oh, okay. Oh, you're a CGI horse? I think I saw you in the movie. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you didn't look very good. Yeah, man, we should hang out sometime. Yeah, okay.